All right, welcome back to the channel. So, Errol Spence Jr. throws some darts at I think at Top Rank and Matchroom and promoters that are charging fighters ridiculous amounts of money to represent them. Um and we're going to talk about it in this video, man, because I think it has a lot to do with why you can't get a Terrence Crawford Errol Spence Jr. fight. And it has a lot to do with why you see certain things popping off with the PBC that although the mainstream media is not talking about it a lot, dog, there is a huge shift taking place right now in boxing. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. So in this video, we're going to talk about two things, okay? The first is going to be what Errol Spence Jr. has to say about his shock that there are quote unquote shock that fighters are still giving up to 33% of their fight checks away, right? 33% of their fight checks away. He's shocked. Now, why would he be shocked? Right? That's the first part of it. Then the second part of it is we're going to talk about what this means for other fighters and what I'm starting to see take place with these promotional companies because of Corona. That is really, I think, could be a very, very good thing for boxing. The two things we're going to talk about, stay tuned for the first, stay tuned for the second, and then leave your comments in the comment sections and tell me what you think. So, point number one, Errol Spence Jr. is shocked that the fighters are giving up 33% of their purse. Now, for people that are not familiar with how boxing works and how fighters have to pay money and how they get ripped off or not necessarily ripped off sometimes, but what their obligations are vis-a-vis their promoter, their manager, their trainer, right? Well, the fighter is supposed to be the boss. That's what they say. You know what I mean? Like you keep hearing it. Well, the fighter's the boss. The fighter's the boss. Every time I hear that and I see that it is a promoter can prevent you from fighting if he doesn't like the fight, doesn't want to make a fight, he doesn't have to make it. All he has to do is pay you with the minimum amount that's on your contract. And if you guys have an issue and cannot make the fight, you can't fight at all, but they can go on promoting. You are not the boss. Okay, that is what you call wordsmithing and a good bit of BS. They're the boss because they can do whatever they want. You can't do anything without them, right? They can't make you fight. So that one-on-one relationship, as far as them making you fight, that seems equal. However, if they can then take somebody else that they have a contract with and give them the same fight that you turn down, they lose nothing and you lose a fight. That is not a 50-50 scenario. He's your boss. So Bob Arum is Terrence Crawford's boss. Terrence Crawford can say something different if he wants, but that's just not the case. Okay? Practically speaking, in practice, it's not the case because he cannot fight for anybody other than Bob Arum. And Bob Arum can have a whole bunch of people fight on his cards who are not named Terrence Crawford. And that dynamic is in favor of the promoter, especially a large promoter that has many fighters signed to them and many choices. He can freeze you out. Okay? Your employee cannot freeze you out. Only a boss can freeze out an employee. It doesn't work the other way around. So, Bob Arum in exchange for being the promoter for Terrence Crawford, Bob Arum takes a cut of the fee that is paid. If he gets a certain amount of money, provided it's not some specific arrangement that's different in their particular agreement, but by and large, the promoter takes a chunk out of the money and then pays the fighter. And then the fighter also has to pay his trainer, which is usually around 10%. And he also has to pay his manager, which also can be as much as 20%. So if you have a promoter taking out, just say 20%, you have a manager taking out 20%, a trainer taking out 10%, that's 50%, right? And then you have to pay the taxes off of what you get paid. Now, what you pay the fighter and all those, that's tax deductible because that's a cost. That's like you didn't earn it. So truthfully, you don't have to pay the taxes on the money that you paid an employee. You know what I mean? Or somebody that's a contractor. You just have to report it as their income and you take it off of how much you made. However, half that money is still gone, right? And then you got to pay taxes on it. And you got to pay tax. You have to pay federal taxes. Depending on the state you fight in, you got to pay state taxes. And you probably got to also pay a fee to the commission for different things. Your money can disappear. So Errol Spence Jr. says he's shocked that people are still doing that. Now, why would he be shocked that people are still doing that? Because he works for an organization where they don't do that. Al Haymon, and this is something that was written by Paul Magno. I really like Paul Magno. He's a writer. He most of the articles that I see him write or I read of his are on Fight Hype's website. But he made this excellent statement about Don King. And he's like, Don King is boxing. Like him, good things that he did, bad things that did, whatever. But he says something that was very interesting. He said, Bob, that Don King is the only true promoter that we have had in this modern day era. The only true promoter that we have had in this modern era is Don King. Now, why would he say that? Because Don King is actually out there selling fights. He was out there promoting fights. He was giving you cards that were incredible cards that were from top to bottom and really promoting the show. And people would buy the show, not just for the one fight against a guy that you know who's going to win and then a bunch of other feature fights with prospects coming up that you didn't care about. He would give you fight cards from the top to the bottom, right? So he would take chunks of, but I say that to say that since he pretty much is the only guy that is really doing that, Bob Arum everybody else is pretty much allowing the network to do the majority of the promoting, right? And all they're really doing other than that is organizing. But the network, like HBO was doing the promotion. Showtime is really doing the promotion. DAZN is doing the promotion. Fox is doing the promotion. These guys aren't, the networks are the ones telling everybody about the fight and delivering the fight to people, at least on the television, right? The promoters are the ones that would be selling the tickets to the actual fight, right? But so there's not a lot of guys doing these promotions, really doing the promotion. Bob Arum's not doing the promoting. He's just organizing the fights with the real guy that's promoting it, which is ESPN. So what is he getting 20% for? 30% for? And you see what happens, right? So that's the first thing, right? That was point number one. Why Errol Spence Jr. would be looking at people crazy. Like, why are you still giving these guys 33% of your money? They're not even promoting. It's the networks that are doing the promoting. And the promoter is actually paying you, right? The real promoter is paying the fee to promote you. Why would you pay a guy a cut of the fee that the real promoter is paying you to allow him to promote for you? That's what ESPN's doing. That's what DAZN was doing or Showtime's doing. They're paying the fighters to fight on the network, and part of the deal is that they are actually doing the promotion for the fight through their distribution networks. So why would you still be paying Bob Arum or Eddie Hearn or Frank Warren or anybody else 30% of your purse for that? You shouldn't. It doesn't make sense. And Errol Spence has never had to do that. Now, why has he never been able to do that? And here's some little bit of inside information, right? I spoke with Errol Spence Jr.'s father, and he told me like why they were so loyal to Al Haymon. Because when he met with Al Haymon and they talked to Al Haymon without telling you any words that would seem like he's telling me what the guy actually said to him, because I didn't want to know what the actual words are. I don't want anybody telling me what Al Haymon actually says, because it's just, he doesn't want his words repeated, right? Obviously, because otherwise he'd be giving interviews. So I'll respect that and I'll respect them. But I will say this, that they knew that the number one reason that they signed with him and didn't sign with Top Rank is because Al Haymon told them how they were going to secure their financial future. And they gave him a much better deal. They're not paying 33% promotional fees. He gets paid 33% more, right, for a fight than somebody that makes the same purse, because they're not going to take that fee out, right? Same thing with the managerial fees. His managerial fees, and this is just the standard contract that's out there with the PBC. They're not going to take an advisory fee or a managerial fee unless the fight is above a certain threshold before they'll take their fee, right? So they may have minimums, but it's not the minimum like, if this is the lowest that I have to offer you, right? And that I can pay you. What he's saying is, I'm not going to take my fee if I get you a fight for any less than this. So if he's getting 10%, he's giving anything that below that, he's giving you a 10% kicker on. That's just a much better deal. So what do we see in the second part of what we're talking about in this video? Let me tell you the trend that I'm starting to see with this COVID stuff. These fighters are heading over there to the PBC. And I think that you'll find other fighters head to the PBC. As long as this continues, you're going to see fighters head to the PBC. For a few reasons. Number one, these promoters are going out of business. They're going out of business. Ringstar Promotions is looking like it's going out of business if it's not already out of business. I haven't even seen, when was the last time that they even had a fight, right? Regis Progress, so Lou DiBella Entertainment, right? He makes most of his money, my understanding, in minor league baseball. But he's allowed Regis Prograis to get out of his contract, and he then goes over to sign with the PBC. Maurice Hooker, right, was signed to DAZN. DAZN is letting him out of his contract. He goes to sign with the PBC, right? You got Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez is having problems with DAZN, where DAZN wants to cut his money in half, right? In half. Unless he takes the specific fights that he wants to take that he doesn't want. That's a rocky relationship between him and DAZN. Where is Canelo Alvarez going to go? Can't go to ESPN. You're not going to be staying at DAZN. Smart move from Canelo Alvarez is the same thing. So I think that you're going to start seeing more and more of this, because as with the fees from the gate, from the attendance not being there, there's less money to go around. And if there's less money to go around, it just makes sense to go somewhere where there's less hands in your pocket, right? Less money to go around means go somewhere where there's less people getting paid. Not let me take less money so that all of these people can continue to get paid. No, let me go somewhere where you're not going to charge me those fees. That's the simple way to solve the solution, right? Now, let me take a pay cut so that my promoter can still get his 33% of a smaller number, right? And my trainer my manager can get 20% of this lower number, right? And I can get my same percentage of this lower money. No, I'm going to take a higher percentage. I want a higher percentage of the lower money. Because a higher percentage of the lower money means I lose less money, not the same percentage of a lower number. And that's more than likely what's going to wind up happening. And Errol Spence is right to point it out. And I think that you're going to see it in the trends that take place in boxing moving forward. Because, dude, we're not going back to normal off of this for a while. The big fights are going to have to be on pay-per-view. They're going to have to be subsidized by fans and directly subsidized by fans. And the only way that that's going to happen is if there are fights that those fans actually want to see, right? And I'm hoping that what happens is that all of the big names that people are interested in seeing migrate to the same place so that they can all fight with one another, and we can pay that money that we want to pay to see the fights that we want to see. That's my take on the matter. You let me know yours. And with that, I'm out. Peace.